All right, everybody. Hello, hello. I'm just waiting to hear that we are live. Hello, hello. Welcome, 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 women rocking business sisters, because the time really is now and the world really is ready for our gift. And so I want to congratulate you. I want to thank you. I want to lift you up. I want to praise you. I want to bow down to you. If you are a woman who's being called to bring your business to the world, if you are a woman on a mission, if you are a woman who is ready to take a big leap into the next iteration of your purpose, your impact on the planet, there is a way to do this that's in alignment with your highest values. There is a way to do this that's in alignment with who you're truly here to be, and not just to change the lives of your clients and make amazing money, but to self actualize in the process. Many of you know I was a school teacher in my last life. Many of you know that I was not necessarily, on a path to create a big women's empire of entrepreneurial expansion. And who I've gotten to become in the process of this journey is the most the biggest vein of gold. And what I want to put in front of you is who you get to become in the evolution of learning to sell in a way that's just in alignment with who you are, learning to serve and to hold a higher level of um, discernment around your value, raising your rates, charging more, stepping into that value that you bring is the game that we're playing now. So if you are here, if you are watching, give me a yes underneath this video in the sisterhood group. If you like me believe that the time is now for women, pop a yes underneath this video. Many of you know that I was bullied as a kid. I was on the receiving end of a lot of mistreatment. And there was a time when I really didn't see myself as a successful, strong, or powerful woman. You know, we have a tendency to underestimate our value. We have a tendency to give our power away out there and to think that other people are already doing it better than we could ever do it. Pop a yes in the chat if this has ever come up for you, if you've ever looked out in the world and gone, well, what is it that I have to give? How would my life even serve other people? But I want to reassure you, and I want to put a stake in the ground that your life, really as a woman, has been a PhD program preparing you for the next chapter of your business. Everything that you've been through, every mountain you've climbed, every time you've fallen on your face and scooped yourself back up, each one of those moments has created a level of strength and a level of conviction in you toward a particular transformation, whether it's a transformation in the area of our confidence, of our relationship success, our business, our executive level or leadership success, a health transformation. Each time you've picked yourself back up after those fall to your knees moments, that's actually why your clients are going to hire you. Now, we just need to cloak your goodness. We need to cloak your gift in the right words. We need to bring up the right structure, the right spiritual superpower, and the awareness of that up underneath what it is that you have to offer. And so, sister, make a note in the chat. Just what is the superpower? What is the spiritual superpower that you know you're going to be calling upon to go to this next level of impact in your business? And here on campus at Women Rocking Business, we believe that speaking and selling is a spiritual path. We believe that the more we can open up our channel to our businesses, the higher and the more successful we're going to be. And so I'm going to go through 4 quick superpowers, and I invite you to just pop a note in the chat underneath this video, which one of these superpowers is most comfortable for you and which one of these superpowers is least comfortable for you. And the awareness then becomes an awareness of, how do I keep bringing in the archetypal and more spiritual, subtle energies of sales and of stepping into my impact as a leader? Because it's not just the words you say that allows your clients to find you, it's who you're being. And so we'll go through these 4 spiritual superpowers, these sort of speaker superpowers, quite quickly, but just go ahead and make a note. Which one is your strongest and which one is your weakest, right? Because the visionary comes in as a woman leader who's on a mission to get her message out into the world. The visionary comes in to hold people's vision even when they cannot hold it for themselves. That's why we hire mentors. We hire mentors because they're holding a certain vibrational frequency that we are not quite ready to align with ourselves. There's the essence of reparenting that happens. Sure, we can reparent ourselves, but if we truly want to make a quantum leap in our own impact and evolution, hiring a mentor to be able to loop with them, to be able to get that transmission, it's one of the most powerful and life-changing things that we can do. And so for you, as you're hiring your mentors, to also be willing to become that mentor, right? To say yes to the alchemy of becoming the mentor who is that visionary, who holds the energy of people's vision, even when they can't hold it for themselves, to be able to bring in that motivation, that motivator archetype. For some of us, that's more natural than for others of us. And for those of you who are a natural motivator, to be able to use, excuse me. Oh my gosh, very real moment. That was a superpower moment, by the way. That was called the superpower sneeze. And isn't it motivating to see mentors get on Facebook Live and just have the very real moment? Because notice, though, that we need the visionary, right? We need the visionary who can hold people's vision, but we also need the motivator who can light the fire under people's butts and say, so what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about this dream to transform your health or your relationships or your wealth or your business or your career? And that brings me to the 3rd superpower, which is the superpower of being a truth teller. Because the reality is that when you're willing to wake people up, that's why people hire you. People don't hire you just to validate them and tell them they're doing a great job, right? People want to be woken up. People, we have a natural inclination and desire to grow. And so are you willing to be that truth teller who sits in the fire with people and helps reflect people's essence back to them? Now I'm going to back up for a moment, because the visionary lives in the element of air, right? Here at Women Rocking Business, we believe that the greatest spiritual superpower that we could call upon also comes from energy. And the reality is that it comes from nature. So pop a yes underneath this video if you find your spirituality out in nature. And I think the most important piece of that is to know that as we actually call upon nature's elements, we can continue to source ourselves. I believe that burnout happens because we're trying to source within ourselves rather than opening ourselves up to be the channel that we're here to be. And so your opportunity is to call through that visionary, which is connected to the element of air, to call through that motivator, which is sitting in the fire with people, and then to call through the strength and the truth telling of water, right? When water flows through a canyon over time, it literally changes the topography of the whole canyon, right? You can see the effects of water slamming up against and polishing the rocks, right? Water is much stronger than we could ever imagine. Are you willing to bring that reflective, kind, but firm and clear and strong truth telling reflection to your clients? And that brings me to the fourth superpower, which is rooted in that energy, that element of earth, which is the nurturing superpower, the superpower that's willing to bring your love and your compassion to the table. Because, sister, people don't know. Let me just back up and say this one more time. People don't really care how much you know until they know how much you care. And so, Papa Yes in the chat, or Papa Me in the chat below this video, if you are a natural nurturer, you know that's one of your superpowers. And for some of us, that's something that we need to learn because we can come in really fiery. And so go ahead and pop a note in the chat. What is your most comfortable superpower and what is your weakest superpower? And when we're thinking about these four superpowers, are you willing to bring to the table all four superpowers so that you can be a more effective leader and a more effective saleswoman? Because saleswoman, because we've got to be able to hold the energy of people's vision even when they can't, but also bring in that kind of steady mentorship energy of the truth teller, while also reflecting back to our potential client that we really truly do care. We care about them. We see this as much more than just a financial exchange. This is an opportunity to make a difference for somebody, and that by receiving that mentorship, the person on the receiving end gets a chance to experience their own transformation, which also allows us as mentors to take that next step toward I think the beautiful and pristine exchange of energy that happens when we truly say yes to a life of service and sacred service and of impact. And so I see some of you are posting underneath the video, and I noticed that many of you are relating with all four of these. And here's the trick that I can give you since we have this precious amount of time together. What I can tell you is that if you want to become a stronger saleswoman, you've got to identify which one is your weakest, because we're not equally strong at all four of these. We're just not. And we've got to be willing to turn up the volume on the superpower that is weakest. So I love so many of you, Karen and Allison and Leora and Terry. So many of you are really relating with all four of these, which shows me that you're an amazing leader. And I noticed Sasha says, that you're strong and visionary, but your motivating doesn't always become really natural to you. Allison also says, I'm strong at telling the truth, but motivator doesn't become supernatural for me. Lavetta says, my visionary is strong, but again, motivator doesn't become really naturally to me. So what I love about these posts is that you guys are starting to take yourselves on and self-reflect in the way that a leader does. Because if we want to get better, if we want to actually get better at holding people, at standing for people, at leading people, we've got to be willing to take ourselves on. And we've got to be willing to look at where we can skill up a little bit, right? And one of the things for me is that when I first started my business, I think the place that I needed the most work was truth teller. I wasn't always comfortable delivering like feedback for people that they might be offended by. And so I really got a chance to practice myself this idea that people don't really care how much I know until they know how much I care. So I was able to bring my nurturer in and give people acknowledgments and that self-reflection, build that trust, and then kind of ask for permission, right? The truth teller who's really delivering truth telling at a high level, calling people into their greatness, the truth teller is able to say, are you open to some feedback right now? Here's where I see your opportunity is, right? Here's where I see you have the possibility of growing to the next level. And here's the place where I'd like to have the honor of supporting you if it's a fit, right? And that's not you throwing anybody under the bus. It's you showing people, this is where I see your area of growth in. So that is one of the primary ways to skill up truth teller. Let's talk about motivator, because for many of you, motivator feels like your weaker one. Now, not everybody motivates in the same way. Not everybody motivates their clients in the same way. But if you're here knowing that you've got to be able to light that fire underneath people's butt to get them into action, I want to remind you that when you can start to show people, okay, here's what I heard you say you want. If I had the opportunity to support you, I'd want to really build in some accountability and scaffolding around that for you. I'd want to walk you through my XYZ framework, my proven framework. You can name the components of your program, right? I would want to really build in some accountability so that you could break down those clear steps so that we together could help you move toward that outcome that you want, right? When I'm saying those words, do you feel more or less motivated? So just notice if you need to skill up in the motivator superpower, right, to use words like, we could work on this together. We could build in some scaffolding. Right? I've got a framework in my program that you could rest into as you take these action steps we're talking about you taking, right? All of that. Yeah, I'm seeing you guys post like that. It registers as motivating, right? Nobody wants to make all these big changes on their own. The visionary superpower is not one that comes naturally to everybody. The visionary is good at asking questions and at listening to what you hear your potential clients saying they want, right? Because when we can reflect back the big why, right? That big juicy why that our potential client is desiring, when we can reflect that back, it's pretty powerful for whoever's on the receiving end. We are holding that vision now with them, right? We are letting them know, I'd like to hold these things that you're saying that you want. I'd like to hold that with you. I see you being able to accomplish that. I see you as somebody who could move toward that. And here's how I could potentially support you on that path, right? You can feel it, right? The women's way of sales. It's feminine, it's graceful, it's gracious, it's collaborative. It's not about generating a lead. It's about opening a relationship. Don't you love it? It feels so good. I know, I love it. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So the last superpower that we didn't talk about was nurture. And I know a couple of you mentioned that nurturer doesn't come naturally for you. And so if that's you, I want to remind you that when you go to bring your nurturing energy out into the world, that you have the opportunity to just truly be in that reflective listening skill, right? That a lot of us are talking about on the path to leadership. Are you willing to reflect back what people hear? Are you willing to acknowledge them and just acknowledge them for the courage that it took them to even get to where they are in life? I mean, pop a yes underneath this video if you would agree with me that just living life is challenging a lot of times. Like it's earth school, right? That doesn't mean that it doesn't have its fair share of bliss and opportunity and the possibility of finding inner stillness and inner freedom. But we're here to learn. We're here to get schooled a little bit. And I really believe that everybody, all humans on this planet need that reflection of our own courage, our own strength. and the reflection from other people. We walk around with blind spots, and the nature of a blind spot is we can't see. And so we as leaders, in addition to waking people up lovingly and holding their vision, we get to love them up. It's part of what we get to do. And if it doesn't come as naturally to you, it's something that we can learn to do. We can learn to slow down and just give people that big old reflection and acknowledgement. I hope this is helpful. I want to just acknowledge every single one of you for taking the time to be here, whether you're here live or watching the replay. And I want to remind you that as you build out the spiritual components of your business, as you build out these energetic components, right? You bring in the magnetic messaging, you continue to do your work to get confident, to get visible in front of people. You learn the tools of authentic engagement, especially when you're opening up your Zoom rooms and stepping on stage and hosting your webinars, right? There is an art and science to engaging people authentically, and you learn to sell in a way that doesn't compromise your soul. I mean, there's no price tag that we can put on soul alignment, right? For you to feel like your business is truly aligned with your soul, that's the place where money comes. That's the place where we get to open up the floodgates of equal energy exchange with the universe and say to the universe, like, I'm here to channel your goodness and your light and your love and your power and your encouragement and your motivation through me and into the humans that need it. If we want to heal the planet, we've got to be willing to heal people. And when you balance these energies, wherever you go to do that, whether you have your own mentor that you lean into, whether you're here on campus at Women Rocking Business, you're one of our students, these are the skills, these are the tools. And when you're willing to step into continuing to fine tune your message and really make sure that you're marketing downstream rather than upstream, giving people what they say they need rather than having to educate people about why they need your services. When you have a clear outcome with your message, and then you partner that clear outcome with the leadership skills that we're talking about here with the 4 superpowers, that energetic alignment, it's incredible what you can create. Absolutely incredible. Women Rocking Business, I was literally setting out to make a living. And Women Rocking Business grew and grew and grew because we kept building out the culture of the community here, where it's a place where women get to come and they're coming home. They get to come home into a safe field of women being able to practice and take the stage and get the leadership skills and practice the sales conversations and practice their offers and practice the components of building a speaking business. And when we learn to put our leadership and our entrepreneurial journey in the context of giving a spiritual gift, I just think the whole thing becomes so much easier. We learn how to sell and extend our offerings to the right people who are looking for what we have from a place of spiritual alignment. We're not expecting the universe to hand us clients. We're growing toward the light. We're willing, and we recognize truth, and we recognize the places where we can grow. We recognize the places where we can become a more clear channel on behalf of our potential clients. And when you do business and when you learn to sell from that place, it's limitless what you can create. And so I hope this training served you today. It's my honor to get to be with you once a month. Thank you for being the very best part of the Women Rocking Business Sisterhood. Thank you for playing. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for the energy exchange. For those of you that are in Business Academy, have an awesome Profitable Speaker call at the top of the hour. For those of you that are here following us, part of the sisterhood, again, thank you for being on your mission, on your path. We are here to help you build out these components of your business. If you find that you ever are ready to take that step into being held world in a tighter container of accountability and strategy. And to every single one of you as a woman on the planet right now, based on all that we see happening on planet Earth, I want to continue to put my stake in the ground that you say yes. It's time to answer the call of your calling. The world needs us all rising up together. It's not the time of one or two of us going to the next level. It's a time for us to link arms and have each other's backs and show the world what it means to lead from the feminine. Not that we're leaving the masculine behind, but to bring in these values of collaboration and generosity and true empowerment rather than this power over that we see so often in the world. And so thank you for being here. Thank you for giving your gift. Your clients really, truly are waiting for you. They're not just waiting for someone like you. They're waiting for you, the woman who's been on your journey, learning your lessons, your life as a PhD program. Thanks for being the very best part of Women Rocking Business. And we'll see you on the other side. Keep playing in the sisterhood group. Keep hanging, keep participating. We love having you, and we'll keep bringing you as much good stuff as we can to keep furthering you along the journey, because I can't think of anything more important than women giving their gifts in this world, in this kind of imbalanced world, right? Because we know how to give back and we know how to keep bringing the love into the shadows. And we collectively doing that, that's the biggest gift. Keep shining your light. You're here for a reason, and you're getting this call for a reason. Bye, everybody. Don't forget to hit subscribe so I can keep getting you weekly content to grow your business that is relevant, authentic, and effective, so you can get out there and shine your light and be the messenger that you're here to be, because your clients are waiting for you.